fundraise to another, Urja Mobility, a startup specializing in battery leasing for commercial electric vehicles, has raised 100 crore rupees in its pre-Series A funding round. The round includes both debt and equity financing and was co-led by Mufin Green Finance and Hindon Mercantile. Founded in 2022, the firm offers battery leasing options for various commercial EV categories, including L3 and L5 vehicles, as well as electric L2s powered by lithium-ion batteries. Now, the new funds will be used to expand Urja Mobility's solutions in energy consumption and supply chain management, focus on the e-mobility sector and scale its operations. Joining me now to discuss all of this further is Pankaj Chopra, the founder and CEO of Urja Mobility. Pankaj, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, as I said to introduce you, you're a battery leasing platform for commercial EVs. If you could elaborate on what you have on offer and your pay-per-use model, can you explain with sort of a, with the help of a use case?
Yeah, so I think so. To start with, India is a power surplus country, but then when from a generation to consumption, I think so there is a fair amount of a huge gap which is available. Now, when the power is generated during the peak times by these natural sources like solar to wind, and the power is consumed 8 times, let's say 6 o'clock and at night, there is a fair amount of a gap. And the gap is primarily for the reason that the power being generated is not being stored. It is the entire solution which is being supported by the government of India is also on, it's a on-grid kind of a solution. So having understood this gap, so we thought that I think so energy storage systems and building up leasing option as to the end user is the kind of story that we wanted to build upon. Primarily also, we before starting the business, we went across into the market with a sort of a dipstick understanding that what exactly are the gaps. So one thing that we saw was that people were not willing to put capex behind the assets, and they were looking more like a smart opex kind of a model, and hence this model came up.
Right. Absolutely. You know, if we could come to the fundraise right now, it's a mix of debt and equity. So what do you plan to use the debt fundraise for, at the debt part of the financing? And you also aim to use the rest of the funds to, fuel the next phase of your expansion, right? So if you could elaborate a little bit on your expansion plans.
Yeah, so I think so. One, we have a fair amount of understanding on the overall size of the demand of the market. Well, just to give you some numbers, there is a gap of close to 200 gigawatt hour. And just to give you some ballpark rupee value number is this could be anything around say 50 to 60 lakh crore kind of a gap. Now, so from a demand perspective, there is no issue at all. I think so. How do we wish to use this fund would be primarily to expand our geographical expansion into the country, and also to strengthen our supply chain. Because as we all know that almost 3/4 reserves into lithium ion is being controlled by China. And that's a kind of, fortunately or unfortunately, building up a lithium ion reserve in the country right at the moment. And we have to build upon our supply chain through our neighbors.
Right. So you're saying
that would be the fund used for.
Yeah, so you're saying that there's no issue in terms of like demand being there, but you also plan to increase your battery deployment across the e-mobility segment with your B2B and retail sectors, right? So powering up your energy capacity from 45 megawatt hours to 300 megawatt hours per day is what you're aiming to do. So if you could simplify this in terms of usage and service capabilities, and what's leading to this expansion at this point? How has, demand sort of evolved?
Right. See, if in case you see the IC engine deployment in the market, specifically from your last mile delivery operators point of view, people, gig workers who come across to deliver goods to our homes, these are either on two-wheelers or three-wheelers. They're approximately close to what around 20 odd million two-wheelers, and there are approximately 2.5 million auto rickshaws which are flying on the road, which are on IC engines. Now, we are wanting that from an environment point of view, and two, from an economical point of view, we are wanting that to convert these gig workers as into the electric products. and that's where the battery comes in the play.
All right. And if you could just tell us who is the everyday Urja user, how much do they need to spend per charge, and what kind of usage do they have? Explain to us how the operation works.
Yeah, if in case we see a two-wheeler IC engine, a 100-stroke engine would deliver approximately close to what 35-40 kilometers as an average, and assuming that the cost of the fuel is close to what 100 rupees. So the cost of operation is anything around say 3.5 to 4 rupees. From adopting electric batteries, this cost comes down to less than a rupee. So from an economics point of view, wherein this gig worker, his income on a monthly basis is roughly around say 25 to 30,000 rupees. I think so having a significant amount of savings on per use kilometer it would be something that would be interest to him. And similar kind of an economics goes on a three-wheeler also.
Right. And if you could quickly tell us in like 30 seconds through the kind of growth you've seen since inception, where are your revenues currently at, and what's profitability looking like?
Right. So once we started, we were in the very first month, I think so we leased close to what 150 kilowatt. And from that journey, we are already leasing per day. That was a per day number. And as of right now, we are talking about leasing close to what 45 megawatt hour per day. And from 45 megawatt, we are looking at reaching at 300 megawatt per hour potentially in the next 1 year. So from a demand perspective, as I told you, I mean, there is no dearth of the business. There is plenty of, from an e-mobility perspective, from a last mile delivery perspective, there is a fair amount of a good demand which is available.
So fair amount of good demand there. All right, Pankaj, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and we're completely out of time. And we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.